The Mewtwo Mew, which is going to be another big card in this matchup. I think we're ready, Chip. I think we're ready to get in this set. I'm so excited. I am so ready to get into this. It is going to be a great one. Let's go ahead and jump down into game number one between both of these players. Again, Azul will be on the top of your screen. Jeremy is going to be on the bottom. We are going to see this important coin flip, so I don't really think it matters as much, right? Azul definitely wants to go first with this deck. We'll see if he maybe changes things up a little bit, but I don't think Jeremy can be too upset as he obviously wants to get off that turn one electrify.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, Azul here gonna force Jeremy to go first. And I actually kind of like this decision as Azul. Sure, you don't get a turn one attachment onto something like, you know, an Urshifu V, but you do force Pikachu and Zekrom to go second, or excuse me, force them to go first, which is what the deck does not want to do. You're kind of making your opponent play things a little differently than they normally would.
Yeah, again, Electrify, such a powerful attack on your first turn. Players cannot attack going first, so Jeremy will not be able to get that off, as it looks like Quick Ball, I have a few cards, still a very solid hand, right? Can get some Lightning Energy in the discard pile, discarding that with the Quick Ball, can get a Bolt Hunt out into play, can even draw some cards with something like Crobat or Dedenne. We see all of those support Pokemon in the deck here for Jeremy. I think looking through the rest, right? Obviously, these players want to map their prize cards out, know what's in the prizes, right? Know what cards they do not have access to. Looks like 2 copies of Professor's Research are in there for Jeremy. Looks like a copy of Marnie in there as well. So Jeremy very commonly prizing a lot of these supporters that can be pretty popular. I was also got 2 Lightning Energy in there as well. So things to note, right? Things that are important. Players want to know what's in their prizes because you can play around that, right? You can know what cards you're going to take, and that's pretty important. Just taking some time, again, looking through the deck, seeing what to get grabbed. There are a few key cards to note here. It looks like one of the Mewtwo Mew is in the deck as well as the other one in play. And it looks like Boltund will be the grab off of Quick Ball. Be interesting to see if the second one gets played or if we see something a little bit more passive, but looks like wants to get that Pikachu and Zekrom in the discard pile as soon as possible, as the Dedenne GX will be the grab. So are we going to be seeing a Dedenne change this turn, or do you think Jeremy's going to take it a little bit more passively?
I think that Jeremy wants to get this Mewtwo and Mew out of the active spot as quickly as possible. I mean, unfortunately, if Azul just attaches an energy and attacks and gets that Mimikyu in play, the Mewtwo and Mew is going to be totally useless through the entirety of this game. So I think that as Jeremy, you wanted to dig maybe for that option, but chose to hold on to the Dedennes. And this is going to be huge for Azul. Top deck's another Urshifu, which is great. Does get that energy attachment. Let's see if we can find a search card here to get that Mimikyu out right away, as we do see a couple of quick balls right away from Azul.
This is an excellent hand indeed. Has the Jirachi, even has the Urshifu VMAX for the following turn. So there is plenty of cards to work with. And it looks like Azul maybe playing a little bit passively, right? You don't need to put the pressure on Mimikyu right away. You could even force your opponent to get down another Mewtwo Mew and then threaten the Mimikyu out of nowhere necessarily.
Right.
Especially without the energies being electrified on, you want to force your opponent to put it onto a Mewtwo Mew that is not being shut off with something like Mimikyu. So I like this play from Azul. Is still considering, right? Could still draw some cards with something like Crobat, but it looks like we are going to go ahead and see that get grabbed. I actually don't know if I saw the Mimikyu in there. Oh, there it is. All right, Mimikyu is in the deck, so that is a big card. Azul definitely happy to see that in the deck. It looks like he may be trying to just go for that right away, but there is, as I said, the potential to maybe go a little bit slower, right? Not grab it right away, but again, Shadow Block, such a powerful ability, is in here in this deck specifically to counter that Mewtwo and Mew GX.
Yeah, definitely. This is what it's here for the Pikachu and Zekrom matchup, and, you know, any of the Fire Toolbox decks that are playing Mewtwo as well. What could potentially happen here, and maybe what Azul is a little worried about, I think we're probably just seeing him check his prizes here, but what could happen on Jeremy's side is if Jeremy is able to find a switch, an energy, and a boss's orders, we could actually see Boltstorm take the knockout on Mimikyu right away, take that threat out of play. But if Jeremy went all in on that, then he's got no energies left in play. But I mean, I think we'll definitely see Jeremy try to target down that Mimikyu at some point this game.
Yeah, this hand is looking rough. It looks like Jeremy is going to have to get rid of
reset
both copies of Reset Stamp. And it looks like that Raichu and Alolan Raichu is also in the prize cards here for Jeremy. Tandem Shock again, such a powerful attack to paralyze, force Azul to find switch cards. We know he's playing a ton of them in this deck. 4 copies of Switch, 4 copies of Scoop Up Net, and Escape Rope as well. As here we go. Boltund will go ahead and come up. Research, here's some Crushing Hammers. These could be big if they hit. Heads will go ahead and put that Rapid Strike energy in the discard pile. And it looks like Boltund is most likely going to go for an Electrify, but it feels so poor to go ahead and put those energies onto that Mewtwo and Mew that's already being shut off with that Shadow Box ability.
Yeah, I wonder maybe as Jeremy if you ever just knock out this Jirachi here. You know, Azul didn't really like do too much after the Marnie. I mean, he played a quick ball, so I guess if Azul had a dead hand, he wouldn't have relied just totally on this Jirachi, so maybe it's not necessarily safe to do that. That might be what Jeremy is thinking of, though, and kind of just maybe that would put Azul in kind of a more awkward spot.
Yeah, you are definitely on the back foot when your opponent has already established that turn 1 Mimikyu. I mean, could Quick Ball, right? Could go ahead and Quick Ball or Cherish Ball for the other Mewtwo and Mew, but that's when things get scary, especially if your opponent can get the return knockout onto the Boltund and then follow that up with a maybe a Zigzagoon ping onto the other Mewtwo and Mew. Can definitely be scary. As we see, Quick Ball will go ahead and discard the Cherish Ball, is going to grab another Boltund, and it looks like we are going to see Jeremy go for that Bolt Storm, take the knockout. Azul not out of it though, still has the cards necessary to dig a little bit through the deck. Can definitely needs to just find a switching out and an energy. Speaking of which, there's a research top deck. Doesn't even need to find a Pokemon like Crobat or Dedenne, as we will see that research go ahead and get played. Is going to go ahead and draw 7 cards, and look at that. Has the Rapid Strike energy, has the ability to pivot out of the active. This is a perfect hand here for Azul.
Yeah, easy knockout here on the Boltund V, dealing 300 damage, moving from the bench to the active, 150 times 2 for the weakness. And Jeremy has already got a Pikachu and Zekrom in play. That's easy 3 prizes right there. And then also this other Boltund V could be an easy knockout as well. Might not even have to target down the Mewtwo and Mew ever at any point in this game.
Yeah, Crushing Hammer is unfortunately going to flip tails. Azul already down one of those Rapid Strike energy. Marnie's going to put the other one in the hand onto the bottom of the deck, and this is just looking so poor here. Has the Lightning energy, can at least get an Electrify off, but we even see a great hand for Azul. Has the potential to get off a G-Max Rapid Flow the following turn. There's the Electrify. He's going to go ahead and throw 2 energy onto the Pikachu and Zekrom. And as I said, this is going to be a great turn for Azul as it looks with the cards in his hand. We'll see what Azul decides to do. There's the Rapid Strike energy, and he is going to go ahead. Boss's orders, targets down that Pikachu and Zekrom. G-Max Rapid Flow will deal just enough damage, 240 with that weakness, to take the knockout on the Pikachu and Zekrom, and will also put 120 damage on that Boltund. Azul is so close to being able to finish out this game number 1.
Yeah, what a dominant position here from Azul. I think you would maybe be a little bit worried about getting reset stamped to 1 normally, but Jeremy had to discard both reset stamps already this game, so Azul should feel pretty confident that worst case scenario, you're going to get Marnied here, which you don't mind too much since it lets you, dig for an energy or something like that, even though Azul did get one off of the prizes. Actually, the Marnie here for Azul doesn't find too much.
Not at all. I mean, has the Giratina, could go ahead and get rid of that Speed Lightning energy onto that Boltund. There's a lot of options here, but Azul, right, can't count him out. He can definitely make something work with the cards, as there is a Great Catcher, but again, not really much to get done. The Giratina, as I said, will be able to get rid of that Speed Lightning energy. We may likely see this Jirachi come down at some point, right? This Mewtwo and Mew is not threatening anything at the point because of Shadow Box, especially as we saw those energies get electrified onto the other Boltund. So Azul has a few options, right? But the real problem at this point, right? There's not much with this hand. You have no way to put on any pressure. You don't have the energies, nor do you have any way to draw cards. So what can Azul really do here in this position?
I mean, I think it's just going to have to be a pass. I think you want to hold on to the boss's orders, potentially depending on what you might top deck. And actually, as Jeremy, I think I would have liked to have seen him electrify those energies last turn on to the Mewtwo and Mew for this exact reason right here. If you find boss's orders and you can knock out that Mimikyu that is on your opponent's bench, that means your Mewtwo and Mew is live and active and can now utilize that perfection ability.
Absolutely. Such a powerful ability, can copy the attacks of any GX Pokemon in play or in the discard pile. Looks like we are going to see this retreat into the fresh Boltund. has a few options again. Air Balloon can go ahead and allow an extra pivot option. I'm sure we may see that boss's orders go ahead and play Jeremy. Just thinking through the options, right? There are a lot of options for Jeremy to take. It also would not be bad to go ahead and potentially Bolt Storm into this active, but it looks like we are going to potentially see this boss's orders come up. Again, thinking about it, we are going to see that. Go ahead and target that Mimikyu. Shadow Box will now be offline as long as Jeremy takes this knockout with the Bolt Storm. There we see it, dealing just enough damage, 130 damage to that Mimikyu. Will go ahead and take the knockout, but again, not really much to follow this up. The following turn does have Eldegoss, so this is going to be a big turn for Chip. What do you promote? Do you maybe promote the Giratina? Do you promote something like this Urshifu? We will see that. What is the top deck here? A big-time top deck into Dene GX. This will allow this Urshifu to potentially get an attack off with the potential cards in hand, as we do see the boss's orders is going to bring up that Bolt Hunt on the bench. Here we go. This is going to be a big 6 cards. All he needs to find is the fighting energy, as that, actually, no, needs to find an extra scoop up net as well. But we actually see the game in hand, right? Azul can go ahead and switch into that Urshifu and then attach the energy to it, and that will be just enough damage to take the knockout. Does he not see that line of play? I'm not sure, right? Had game in hand if he just attached the VMAX there.
Yeah, I think Azul maybe got a little ahead of himself here. Definitely had game, just goes switch and Gale Thrust, picks up the KO, takes that last prize, and that's GG's moving on to game number 2. Maybe just getting a little ahead of himself here. I think he's totally fine still, but you definitely still want to go ahead and win the game when you can.
That was definitely an interesting play. We usually see these players at the top of the level on their game, but again, pressure is a big piece here, right? You get excited sometimes when you have game in hand, and Jeremy is definitely a little confused, I'm sure, especially after seeing not much happen there and the fighting energy in hand. But, I mean, you got to take any break you can get, especially with the cards in your hand. You maybe can put something together here, right? We do know Jeremy is playing, it looks like, no copies of that tag switch in the list, which would be crucial here, right? If Jeremy could have found something like the tag switch in combination with a boss's orders and a way to get that Mewtwo powered up, that could be a big tempo swing in this game, Chip.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I really would have liked to have seen Jeremy electrify to the Mewtwo the turn that he electrified to the Boltund, because the extra energies on Boltund shouldn't ever really make that big of a difference. And Jeremy going to go ahead and play to the outs here, just going to bring up Zigzagoon. I mean, I guess, is this really even an out, though? Your opponent just... I mean, this actually does work. You take the Zigzagoon out. Now it means that Azul can't win with just a scoop-up net to pick up the Zigzagoon and ping that Boltund on the bench, and you're forcing Azul to find an energy and a switch card, which we know Azul has.
Yeah, is going to go ahead and promote that Urshifu V. Just needs to go ahead and retreat, attach the energy, and then play that switch from hand, and Azul will have the game. We'll see if he can put this together now. I think just thinking through everything, it really does not matter what Pokemon this Urshifu VMAX retreats into, so we'll be able to take the knockout on to that Boltund V. There we go. We see the retreat. There's the attachment of the energy, the switch, and Azul will take game 1 in pretty dominating fashion here. Gale Thrust going to deal 300 damage to this Boltund V. Azul is going to go up 1-0, and we saw in that game 1, as you said, Mimikyu putting in so much work, shutting off that Mewtwo and Mew, and really allowing Azul to just take control and big pace in this game.
Yeah, I almost wonder if Azul, like, maybe got a little bit confused in that game. Maybe got, I mean, I do this sometimes on PTCGO, get my opponent's prize count confused with my own prize count. Maybe thought he had 3 prize cards left, and that might be why we saw him go that line. Did maybe realize there at the end that he just needed to switch and take the knockout and was able to close the game out. But, I mean, that can definitely happen in these online tournaments. Sometimes you can get things a little mixed up, but Azul able to close things out, and I think that game was pretty indicative of how good this matchup really does feel for Azul.
Yeah, Mimikyu is the main important card, right? You have Jirachi GX as well to shut off weakness, which is sometimes enough, but if your Jirachi GX goes down to something like a Tandem Shock or a Tag Bolt GX as well as a Bolt Storm, it can get scary, especially knowing you have no way to really deal with this Mewtwo and Mew, but Mimikyu, Shadow Box, again, in there for that Mewtwo and Mew matchup. It is excellent at taking that down. Is there really anything Jeremy can do going into the next couple of games to really put the tide in his favor, right? To put himself in a winning position. This matchup isn't a total landslide, right? There is still ways that Jeremy can pivot through this matchup, right? What can he do?
Yeah, well, definitely what Jeremy needs to do is just get the Electrify onto Mewtwo early on, and then just try to target down the Mimikyu when he can. Once that Mimikyu comes in play, if you can just knock it out and get rid of that Shadow Box ability, then your Mewtwo's are going to be live. Sure, that gives Azul the opportunity to put a Jirachi GX in play, but the Mewtwo and Mews do not get one-hit KO'd like all of the other Pokemon in your deck do by a Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. So I think that's really what we need to see from Jeremy. Electrify onto Mewtwo, and then target down that Mimikyu as quickly as possible with Boss's Orders and the Boltund.
That is definitely a very valid strategy, Chip, getting rid of the main threats, the main tech cards that Azul is playing to take this matchup and really put it in his favor, and we are ready to get into game number 2 between both of these players. We have saw some exciting, awesome action, so let's go ahead and throw it down to these players here. Jeremy's going to be able to go second in this matchup, right? So exactly what Jeremy wants to do, get that turn 1 Electrify. Azul is going to start things out with not the best hand here. I mean, it does have the Mimikyu to start things off, but there's no other real Pokemon to attach these energies to. We could see a nice top deck here from Azul, though. Does top deck that Jirachi. That is maybe one of the best top decks you can have, especially with that switching card in hand. Stellar Wish doesn't find a Pokemon Surge out. It does not, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely what Azul is looking for here. Either a Pokemon Communication or a Quick Ball would have allowed him to go ahead and get a Urshifu with an energy attachment for the turn. What we might just see is Azul thin the hand out a little bit and then go for the Crobat, draw himself a couple of cards here. Really does want to go ahead and get the attachment, but actually could just attach to the active and retreat. I mean, I guess, you know, you attack for 1 energy if you VMAX, right? So maybe this actually works out fine. If you can just find the search out, find a way to get a Pokemon, which you can do now either with a Scoop Up Net or a Quick Ball, you would be able to bench an Urshifu so you can threaten the VMAX next turn. But unfortunately, after the Crobat plus Stellar Wish, Azul was unable to find one of those search outs.
Yeah, so much ability to take a look at those trainer cards off the top of the deck and found none of that. That could have put Azul in a pretty solid spot, as it looks like we are just going to see the attachment to that active Boltund, followed up by Marty. So Jeremy's going to get to see a couple of cards here, but does find that Quick Ball, which is going to allow him to electrify onto any Pokemon. Could go on to a Mewtwo and Mew. We do see a very solid hand here from Azul as well. Has a couple pieces, which we'll get into when action is back on him. It looks like eyeing up a few options, so important things to note. Both Mewtwo and Mew are in the deck, so those are both options for Jeremy. Has a few other cards to look at, though, too. Looks like there is a Crushing Hammer in the prize cards. Both Reset Stamp in there, that could definitely be a big attack, a big card, right, in combination with something like a Tandem Shock. Looks like a couple of Marnie there as well, a Research in the prizes as well, or I believe has another Research in hand. So it's going to be big here. Jeremy needs to put pieces together. As you said, Mimikyu already in play, a big, crucial card in this matchup, is going to apply pressure. Hopefully going to be able to keep this Mewtwo and Mew safe. Azul's going to definitely be looking for either an attack into that Mewtwo and Mew if it does get grabbed, or something like a Galarian Zigzagoon.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think this is what Jeremy's got to do here. You got to go ahead and put the Mewtwo down. And since Azul did not get a Urshifu V in play, you know that there is no way Azul is taking a knockout this turn. No way that Azul can even really super efficiently attack. I guess we could see a Strafe. I don't know if that's necessarily the best option. I don't think you really care about the 60 damage into a Boltund. But Jeremy has a perfect follow-up here. He's got an Energy card and a Boss's Orders to just target down that Mimikyu right away, which I'm almost certain that's what we're going to see happen.
A nice top deck there from Azul, finds a Fighting Energy, and there is the Quick Ball, so that Quick Ball can go ahead and grab that Galarian Zigzagoon. We do see Stellar Wish first, does not grab anything, but we do see that Galarian Zigzagoon is in the deck. So Azul has a few options. The scary thing, though, is there's not much else besides that in this hand, right? So usually would play the Quick Ball first to thin out a Pokemon, but Azul, being very smart, knows that if the Stellar Wish did not grab anything, there would be no real follow-up the following turn. However, does have the VMAX and a Rapid Strike Energy to follow this up, so Azul could play a little bit more aggressively, right? Could go ahead and grab that Zigzagoon, maybe get rid of something like the Martial Arts Dojo, which is not too relevant in this matchup, but looks like going to go ahead and opt to discard the Giratina, and we are going to see Azul play a little bit riskier, right? Does not really have much of a follow-up next turn, but the thing that he maybe understands is Jeremy may try to take this turn to target down something like that Mimikyu, which would allow Azul to have a Stellar Wish the following turn. So we'll have to see what line of play Jeremy has, does have the energy, has the Boss's Orders. So, Chip, are we going to see this target down the Mimikyu potentially?
Yeah, I think that's definitely what you got to do here. And that was definitely smart by Azul. Needed to get the Zigzagoon in place so that your opponent can't just go, switch plus boss, knock out your only Urshifu. So needed to go ahead and get that down. So that was not going to be an option for Jeremy. And Jeremy does exactly what we said. Gets that energy attachment, is going to go ahead and bring up that Mimikyu and take it out. And now it'll be on to Azul. Definitely is going to want to find himself the Jirachi GX.
And what a solid top deck and switch. That's going to guarantee Azul the pivoting out. Finds Professor's Research as well. Off of this, we could see this Research get played. Azul could also hold the hand, right, and threaten something like a G-Max Rapid Flow the following turn, but looks like going to opt to draw some more cards, get down another Urshifu, get some things in play.
Also, got to find the Jirachi for sure.
Yeah, has the quick ball to find the Jirachi GX. Excellent draws here for Azul. Can go ahead and try to establish another Urshifu VMAX while getting this down. But it looks like it's actually in the prize cards, Chip.
That is huge. That is so unfortunate for Azul. And that's maybe what Jeremy needs to fight back in this game. It's going to be pretty easy for Jeremy to find a knockout potentially onto this Urshifu VMAX. You can just use one of your, GX attacks, Tag Bolt, something like that to just take a big knockout. And then, you only have to knock out something like Crobat or another Urshifu V to close out the game.
Yeah, it's not all over for Azul. This is big.
Definitely
Utilizing G-Max Rapid Flow will put that Mewtwo and Mew in range to be knocked out by a Gale Thrust the following turn. It does find the Jirachi GX off the prize cards as well, so this is big. Azul's not out of it. Two excellent draws actually off the prizes. Finds the Pokemon Communications the following turn, so it's going to be on Jeremy. Needs to find a Lightning Energy. Would preferably like to get something online like a Tag Bolt. I don't know if there is actually a Pikachu and Zekrom in a discard pile, but this Cherish Ball will at minimum be able to grab it out of the deck.
Yeah, I think actually as Jeremy, you don't want to Tag Bolt right away and take these prizes. It doesn't win you the game, so I almost feel like you just want to go ahead and Full Blitz to another Mewtwo right away. That could be pretty decent of an option. Also, getting the Raichu and Alolan Raichu down into the discard pile is very nice. I mean, one of the most common ways we see Pikachu and Zekrom win games is by using Raichu and Alolan Raichu's Tandem Shock in combination with a late game reset stamp.
Stamp Tandem Shock. I feel like I've heard that so many times while playing the Pokemon trading card game in recent times, as we do see, just like you said, there's another Mewtwo and Mew. We could see this Full Blitz, put pressure onto the active, set up another Mewtwo and Mew. Shadow Box will not be online for the rest of the game. So here we go. This is going to be a big turn here. We'll see if Jeremy opts to go for a Tag Bolt or a Full Blitz. I feel it's so risky, right? Going for a Tag Bolt in this play. If your opponent can find the pieces necessary, you would not have any energy on board. And then I think from there, Azul can just run away with this game.
Yeah, and you can see Jeremy is totally unsure what to do in this spot. Do I just go ahead and take this knockout, or do I set up my benched Mewtwo? And I think you've got to set up the benched Mewtwo. Also, what doing Tag Bolt would do is, I guess you're knocking out Azul's only Karate Belt, so we wouldn't have to worry about that since it is on the active spot. But going ahead and setting up the bench is definitely something I like here. It forces Azul to have more as well, since the Karate Belt is on the active spot. You have to find a physical switch card. You can't just find Air Balloon as a pivot out.
Yeah, and this is going to be big. Azul was able to keep that large hand size, has the ability just with the cards in hand already to get off another Gale Thrust as long as there is that third Urshifu VMAX in deck. We did see him have to discard one of those early on, so has a few potential options. Needs to hopefully not have the other one prized, as it looks like Azul is going to start things off with that Pokemon Communications, is going to go ahead and throw that Urshifu in the deck, and there it is. That third Urshifu VMAX in the deck will allow Azul to get a Gale Thrust off, taking 3 more prizes. But the problem is if Jeremy doesn't bench anything else, Azul will have to find a way to get through this last Mewtwo and Mew.
Yeah, and this could be tough. I actually wonder, I mean, you have the ability to turn on, I guess if you take this 3-prize knockout, you can't turn on your Karate Belt. So maybe what Azul actually should do in this spot is just go Boss's Orders the other Mewtwo and Mew, bring it up to the active, hit it for 150 damage, and then try to, have this Karate Belted Urshifu on the bench so that on the next turn you can find a Rapid Strike Energy and just take a knockout on both of these Mewtwo at once.
I like this play, Chip. This could be very smart. Needs to make sure the correct Mewtwo and Mew is in the active spot. So we'll need to find a combination of Boss's Orders for the next turn as well, right? Needs to be able to Boss's Orders the other Mewtwo and Mew up, and then utilize Karate Belt to take the knockout where necessary, as it looks like we are going to most likely see this in combination with the Jirachi GX. Obviously wants to remove that Psychic weakness. I think is just thinking about that line, right? Does he want to go for the Boss's Orders in combination with a G-Max Rapid Flow? Will be dealing 160 damage to that Mewtwo and Mew on the bench. Again, we'll need to find the Boss's Orders the following turn. So I think that's what he's thinking about. Could also find Scoop Up Net, right? The Zigzagoon is in play. I don't know how many Scoop Up Nets Azul is down so far, but it looks like we are going to see the boss's orders bring it up. There is the switch. It looks like going to go ahead and bring the other Urshifu VMAX into the active spot. There is the Gale Thrust, going to deal 150 damage, 160 with that martial arts dojo, and Jeremy is in a position where could be nice to maybe get the potential cards down. Azul actually not going to play that Jirachi GX down, so this could put Jeremy in his position where what do you knock out, right? If you take the knockout, you turn on Karate Belt. So this is an interesting play from Azul, but I think it's going to pay off nicely for him here.
Yeah, definitely. And I actually like Azul's decision here not to put the Jirachi GX in play, because only one of two things happens, right? Your opponent either goes boss, knock out your Karate Belted Urshifu. If they do that, of course, all you have to do is find a Rapid Strike Energy, or they can go for something like a big Tag Bolt to knock out your active. And if they do that, all you need is still a Rapid Strike Energy and potentially a boss, assuming Jeremy potentially moves this Mewtwo to the bench. But I mean, also the martial arts dojo, can't forget that. If a basic energy gets left on this active one, like if Jeremy chose to knock out the benched one, that would actually boost the damage enough for for Azul to just need the Rapid Strike Energy to pick up the KO on both of these Mewtwo's.
That's why I maybe would have liked to see that Jirachi GX come down to preserve that basic fighting energy on the active, because then that would allow Azul to get the pieces necessary to take this knockout. So an interesting choice there. That could definitely be tough for Azul now that he is unable to utilize that martial arts dojo the following turn if we see something come out here like a G-Max Rapid Flow. There we go. We'll go ahead and utilize Tag Bolt GX. 400 damage with that weakness. We'll go ahead and take the knockout. So yeah, I wonder here, Azul will have no ability to get a G-Max Rapid Flow off in combination with a Fighting Energy chip. Could that have been a slight oversight there, but from Azul?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can also just find the Great Catcher. You've got the Boss's Orders. You've got Scoop Up Net as options as well for this Zigzagoon. So I think it's overall just fine, and we'll have to see how it works out for Azul. He does have the Dedenne GX in hand, so that can always draw a lot of cards. And, needing to find the Rapid Strike Energy as well as a couple more pieces here.
Absolutely. There is the Dead Chain.
There's the Rapid Strike.
Rapid Strike Energy. So that's one of the few pieces here. Also has a reset stamp, a nice card to put Jeremy's hand down to 2 cards. There is the Rapid Strike Energy. We'll see that reset stamp come into play. Just still need to find the switching out for the Jirachi as well. We will go ahead and see Quick Ball go ahead and discard that Marnie. Looking through the deck, seeing what options are left. Looks like going to go ahead and thin that out. There's only one Boss's Orders in and no Great Catcher. So it looks like that Great Catcher either got discarded or prized. And we actually are just going to go ahead and see that research come down. Needs to find the pieces necessary. There's the Scoop Up Net. Is that enough, Chip? I think that's the exact amount of damage Chip needs, Azul needs there. There is the switch. There is the G-Max Rapid Flow. Going to go ahead and take a huge 6 prize turn on top of only needing to take 4 prizes there. Azul is going to go up 2-0. Again, in such a dominating fashion, right? Even with the Mimikyu getting knocked down early. Didn't even need to utilize the Jirachi GX, a card in there to deal with Mewtwo and Mew. That just felt like such a dominating game there, Chip, for Azul.
Yeah, I mean, and it just goes to show how solid the matchup is. I think Jeremy played it pretty much as good as he could have, did the exact strategy that we said we needed to see him do, electrify to the Mewtwo, target down the Mimikyu as quickly as possible, even got 2 turns of weakness hits into opposing Urshifu VMAXs, but just was not quite able to do it. I mean, you're hitting for weakness into Urshifu VMAX, but you're not one-hit KOing it unless you're using one of those GX attacks, which I think is, really kind of the detriment, kind of the downfall to this specific matchup.
It is a tough matchup to maneuver for Jeremy. It feels like you are on the back foot, right? For every turn almost, right? If you electrify, you're in range of getting your Bolton knocked out, and then if you have your Mewtwo in play, have the possibility for a Mimikyu to come down and Shadow Box and shut it off, and now you have to find a way to deal with that. It feels like such a tough matchup here, Chip, but this is where Jeremy needs to really put on his cape, right? Needs to go ahead and turn things into what exactly needs to happen, right? He needs to find the pieces, needs to deal with Mimikyu, needs to put pressure on early. These are going to be the big key factors in this game. Let's go ahead and get down into game number 3. Between both of these players, this is going to be an exciting one. Azul is just 1 game away from taking this set convincingly in 3-0 fashion. Jeremy needs to pull out a reverse 3-0 in order to advance to the grand finals,
Yeah, has to get 3 wins in a row. Has a solid start, has the Bolton, has the Mewtwo right away. You're going second, you're going to get that Electrify. But, I mean, look at Azul's hand. He's got 2 pretty good cards there, both the Mimikyu and Jirachi GX.
Yeah, and looks like going to be starting things out. Going first, Stellar Wish is not going to find that quick ball or the Pokemon communication. So a repeat of game 2 here, but still will be able to Stellar Wish again. It definitely feels bad to have to get rid of 2 scoop up nets this early on, but here we go. Stellar Wish. This is a big card. Finds the Pokemon communications. Will be able to throw that Jirachi GX most likely back into the deck. So let's see if that is the choice. Yep, Jirachi GX going to go ahead and go back into the deck here. Looks like eyeing up that Rapid Strike Urshifu V for the card to be grabbed. Yeah, just check into the deck, right? Wants to see what's prized. I don't know if I saw the Great Catcher in there again, so this is going to be a big turn for Azul. We'll be able to at least get that Rapid Strike Urshifu V in play. Again, Pokemon communication, such a strong search out. Can find any Pokemon out of the deck. It's sort of an exchange, right? You put one in, you get one out. It feels like a slot machine soda. You put something in, you get it out. It's a great card here, and I'm sure we'll see play all the way up to its rotation, right? As long as it is in our standard format.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to go ahead and see that Urshifu V grabbed. Has the VMAX in hand, ready to go, so we can see Gale Thrust as quickly as the next turn. Over onto Jeremy's side, has a really solid hand and top decks the Dene GX as well, so even could dig with that if he wanted to. Might just see the Professor's Research, though. Let that be the option, so you don't have to put some of these fighting weak support Pokemon in play like the Dene and Crobat.
And there we go. We see the attachment to the Bolta, able to get down potentially a second Mewtwo, and Mew has a plethora of energies in hand. 3 lightning energy on top of a speed lightning energy as well. So Jeremy has plenty of options to work with. Will at least be able to get off and electrify this turn. Yeah, just thinking through the options, right? Wants to make sure the best lines of play are taken, and it looks like we will just go ahead and see Electrify throw 2 Lightning Energy onto this Mewtwo and Mew tag team Pokemon, as action will be back onto Azul. It's going to be Azul's turn here. Going to start things off. What a great top deck there, and switch will allow this Jirachi to Stellar Wish on top of being able to promote this Urshifu VMAX if Azul so chooses to.
Yeah, definitely, and we're probably just going to see the research in combination with this, just needing to find an energy to go ahead and get the knockout. And actually, I don't hate this either. It looks like Azul is just going to go ahead and play the research. You have so many switch cards, so many ways to still move this Jirachi that you might as well dig through the deck a little bit. So that way, if you like whiff a supporter off of this research, you have the Stellar Wish to look for a supporter for the next turn, and then still have a pretty high chance to find the switch.
And an excellent grab there finds the Jirachi GX in combination with that energy and switch. Urshifu VMAX will be able to take a 2-prize knockout with Gale Thrust. And now this Mewtwo Mew will not be able to take a knockout because of the weakness negated from that Jirachi GX. Such a powerful ability that it has, negating all psychic weakness on all Pokemon, not just psychic types, but all Pokemon weak to psychic, as Jeremy will at least be able to accelerate some more energy to play with Full Blitz if he so chooses to, but Dene is going to get rid of a few key pieces. 3
needs to find a
lightning
boss.
Energy, needs to find boss, but there's no boss's orders there. Can't even dig through the deck, has already used a Dene. Dene change for the turn. Chip, what can Jeremy really do in this position?
I mean, it's looking a little tough, I'm not going to lie. I think I would like to see this Bolton come down, and I'd like to see you Full Blitz a couple of energies to it, potentially, since that is potentially the only thing you'd be able to attack with this turn, because if you just Full Blitz this energy onto the other Mewtwo and Mew, all Azul has to do is find a Zigzagoon, and then you've got 6 energies in play that are literally useless. You cannot attack with either of the Pokemon.
Exactly here, Chip. You've got a great understanding. We all see how powerful Mimikyu is in this matchup, as we are going to see the Full Blitz deal 150 damage. It's going to accelerate the last remaining 3 lightning energy out of the deck onto this benched Mewtwo and Mew. And as you said, Zigzagoon in combination with something like a attack into the active, even if it deals 30 damage, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't even get the full effect.
Doesn't even matter.
Both. Yeah, you will have to now power up a Bolt Hunt to be able to deal with this. You will need a Pokemon that does not have a big ability on it, right? And we do see that Jeremy is down all basic lightning energy left in the deck, as Pokemon Communications actually top-decked a Pokemon
no
to be able to
Zigzagoon.
Utilize it. So, but yeah, Zigzagoon is in the prize cards, it looks like. Could even utilize something like Psy Power here to put the damage counters necessary. I think Azul sees this line of play.
Yeah, this is so smart from Azul, being able to just send up the Mew. All you need to find is a basic energy here, and you will just render both of these Pokemon completely useless on Jeremy's side. You can't even find, like, I mean, I guess if you get Coco plus an energy, you can maybe find the boss to take out the Mimikyu, but I actually think Jeremy has already discarded all 3 Boltund this game. Oh, Jeremy playing 4 copies in the list, so has that 4th one. Needs to find it, though.
Yeah, we do see the Tapu Koko in deck, but cannot attach that Speed Lightning energy to anything here. We do see Crushing Hammer will go ahead and flip head, so we'll remove that fighting energy off of that Mew. We really never see it attack, but again, Chip, seeing that sort of obscure line of play, right? That weird line, that you really never attack with Mew. It's in there for a bench barrier. It's very useful in the mirror match and against a couple of decks, as we saw it be useful against stuff like Cramorant in the past, as there is that last Boltund in deck, has that in the hand. We'll be able to bench that down, get that Speed Lightning energy. We'll be able to draw 2 cards and go ahead and get that thing powered up. There is the Dance of the Ancients. I think considering whether or not to use it, but looks like going to just hold off for the time being. Has Quick Ball, right? So could grab another Pokemon out of the deck if there are any even remaining, as we see a lot of those Pokemon have already been discarded. So plenty of options. It looks like the opt to discard the Raichu and Alolan Raichu, but as I said, no Pokemon remaining in the deck. All 3 Boss's Orders are still in there, and it feels really bad, especially when there's a potential for your opponent to even knock out this Boltund V in the upcoming turns.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what Azul is going to want to try to pull off here, finding a Boss's Orders to knock out this Boltund V, take it out of play, make it so that your opponent doesn't have any option to bring up this Mimikyu and KO it. As we see Jeremy clicking on the Mimikyu, kind of cursing it maybe, just wishing that it was not there so that he could utilize these Mewtwo and Mews. That's what they are here for this matchup, for the ability to hit for Psychic Weakness, and it's just not something he's able to do.
Absolutely here, and it looks like just going to go ahead and consider the options, can at least take a knockout onto this Mew, take the first prize cards, but again, that just feels bad as well, right? You also activate things like Karate Belt, like that martial arts dojo. It just opens up even more lines of play for Azul.
Yeah, and it makes it so easy for Azul to just find a switch card to take the knockout on the Boltund, and that's what you need to do as Jeremy, is have this Boltund stay in place so that you can knock out the Mimikyu.
And we see a lot of key pieces, 2 energy cards already. I believe Azul's down 2 fighting energy, so really I think is considering whether or not it's worth it to research these energies away. There's not really much pressuring this necessarily. Could just take the turn to maybe attach to that other Urshifu V on the bench. So there's plenty of options, but it looks like Azul, considering going ahead and attaching this Rapid Strike energy, it looks like we are going to see Azul dump this hand out. Could even grab something like another Jirachi out of play to just thin it out of the deck, or another Urshifu V. So I like this play. Azul wants to maximize the potential to draw a switching out here in combination with something else. Does not quite find it, though. This is going to be tough for Azul. Does at least find another energy card, potential for next turn, Boss's Orders. So there are plenty of outs for Azul to put cards together the following turn, and here we go. Crushing Hammer. This could be big. Heads is going to remove yet another energy out of play. Azul is down a fair amount, Chip. I believe down, 3 fighting energy and one of those Rapid Strikes. So still has 4 energy, or 5 energy, has 5 energy left in deck. So not out of it yet, but this could definitely be a problem if Azul starts running out of energy.
Definitely, and we are going to see a Marnie here, most likely from Jeremy. Once again, I don't think wants to attack with this Boltund until you are combining it with a Boss's Orders. As we do see the Boss's Orders drawn here for Jeremy, we'll just have to sit on the hand for the next turn. I mean, and all you can really do as Jeremy in this spot is hope and pray that Azul does not find a Boss's Orders onto your Boltund. I mean, taking this knockout on Mew just makes it so easy for Azul to find the KO. You've got to force him to find the boss, and if Azul has it, there's really just not going to be much of anything Jeremy can do.
Absolutely, and we see Jeremy, again, does not want to play any attacks into the pieces, but look at Azul's hand, Chip. Look at the cards he has. He is so close to being able to take the knockout onto this Boltund. If he has something in deck, like a Dedenne GX, we could see this go ahead and dig a little bit further, can go ahead and scoop up net into that Jirachi, trying to find a quick ball, already has the Boss's Orders in hand, and if Azul's able to knock out this Boltund, the game is pretty much over. Jeremy has no more attackers he can be able to utilize because of this Mimikyu.
Yeah, definitely. And Azul's just kind of trying to figure out how exactly he wants to play it here. I like this. Go ahead and switch. You've got the scoop up net to pick up the Mew if you find something like a quick ball or a Pokemon communication. Not able to find either, but does find an escape rope and a great catcher. Might just want to bring up the Dedenne for a turn. I guess you just probably need to go ahead and research as Azul here. You can't get the knockout on the Bolton, but you can go ahead and get a couple of different Pokemon, get an energy attachment at least to one of these Urshifu.
Yeah, it looks like Great Catcher will be the grab, and it looks like we will see the Jirachi go ahead and potentially Stellar Wish again. It looks like actually going to opt to discard the boss's orders in combination with that Jirachi. There is the air balloon, and here we go. Professor's Research. Does it find an energy card? Not quite yet. Does have the Martial Arts Dojo in combination with a few more cards within the deck out. Quick Ball, there is 2 Dedenne and a Crobat left in the deck. So this is going to be a big turn. Azul has, I believe, 3 energy left in deck, so 1 fighting in the prizes. Can he find that here? We'll be able to thin out yet another Pokemon out of the deck, that being Dedenne GX. Here we go. Big Dedenne change chip. Does Azul find an energy here? And there they are. All the energy almost remaining in the deck. Finds himself that fighting energy in combination with something like this. And I think we're going to be just seeing a Gale Thrust here. It's going to deal enough damage, 320 damage after switching to the active. Going to go ahead and take the knockout. And Azul's going to go down to 2 prizes left. Jeremy has got to put something together, but it just feels so poor. I mean, you can knock out the Mimikyu in play, but what do you do after that?
Yeah, if you knock out the Mimikyu in play, the game is basically over because, I mean, if you knock it out with the Boltund, because then Azul only just needs a switch or a different energy since the air balloon is already on this Urshifu. I mean, I think that the writing could be on the wall here for Jeremy. Not much he can do at this point, just unable to attack with either Mimikyu. You can take the knockout onto the benched Urshifu with the Boltund, but I mean, then it's just the same situation. Like, all Azul needs is an energy card to, hit you for the G-Max Rapid Flow for weakness, if he finds another Rapid Strike energy, or even a switch card to just Gale Thrust. The options are very limited for Jeremy, and I don't think any of them are really going to work out.
There we see Jeremy go ahead and boss's orders up the Mimikyu. We'll go ahead and retreat into the Boltund. There's the Boltstorm, and Azul has the pieces in hand, right? Has the switching card, has the energy here. I think we're going to see Azul advance into the grand finals here. There we go. Promoting the Urshifu with that fighting energy here. There is the Rapid Strike energy, gonna finish things out in style. G-Max Rapid Flow going to knock out the Boltund. Azul is going to take those final 2 prizes and advance into grand finals here with the Urshifu VMAX deck. Congratulations to Azul. Absolutely phenomenally played from him. What a great set to watch, Jim.